So the first thing I like to do is I like to truncate my sample down to the part that I want to use. And I know that it's somewhere, around here, I believe. I don't remember. So what we can do is we can go ahead and drag this start point to where we believe our section is. I think it's somewhere around here. Go ahead and audition it. Wow. No, it's not there. All right, that's the section I want. So we can go ahead and drag the endpoint. I know I want it's about a 4-bar section I want. So let's go ahead and narrow that down a little bit. All right. Oh, yeah. And also, you might be wondering what I'm doing with the stop button. Just in case you don't know, pressing the stop button 2 or 3 times stops the playback of the sample. So I want that little 4-bar section right in there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trim this up tight using the Qlinks. Let me just mention what these Qlinks actually do. You have 4 rows of Qlinks, and you have this legend here that shows you what each one does. The first one moves your start point. The second one moves your end point. The third row controls your loop section, which I'll get into later. And then the fourth row, you have your scrolling and zooming, which I like to use as well. So the first Qlink for your start mark is going to be, extremely coarse. So it's going to move the Qlink in huge chunks of samples. And, the movements are measured in samples. So that's what these numbers here are. They represent samples. That's what this does. This moves by 1,000 samples, which is, a pretty coarse adjustment. As you go down, lower and lower, it gets more fine. So it goes down to 100 samples, then down to 10 samples, which is pretty fine, and then down to 1 sample, which is the minimum you can adjust any audio file to in any digital audio workstation that I'm aware of. I've never seen any adjustments less than 1 sample. I mean, it could be out there, but I've never seen it. So this is about as fine as you can get. But I rarely use that because it's like ultra surgical. So I usually stay between, the first 3 when I use these. So, let me shut up about that and let's just go ahead and chop this unused mess off of our sample. So that's where I want it to start. So we're gonna zoom in on that and get it nice and tight. That sounds good. Let's just let it play. Right there is where I want it to end. All right, so that's my sample. So a cool thing that the MPC has is you can audition different sections of your selection. So what I was just doing is I was auditioning the sample from my end marker. So that's letting me know, the starting point of what I don't want, which is this section here. I don't want that. So I want this end point to start at the very beginning of what I don't want. So I can audition that and hear it and get that nice and tight. So what I want to do, I want to move the end marker now, because that's what I'm auditioning now. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim that up a little bit. And the other thing I can do is I can audition up to that end mark. So if I use pad 3, it's gonna play from somewhere around here and play to the end. So I can make sure that I'm not getting a piece of the start of the next part that I don't want. And it's like a very slight piece of it. So we can use one of the fine adjustments to knock that out. Maybe a little bit more. All right, that sounds pretty good. Actually, let's get that closer up on that kick drum a little bit. So now we pretty much have our section that we want. The last thing we can go ahead and do is we can audition this sample in loop form to see how it loops. So we can go ahead and turn loop on, which is pressing F4. When it's white, it's on, and it's evident as shown here, where it's going to be highlighted red. So all we have to do is audition our play loop pad, which is pad 13. We just hold that down and we just listen to how it loops. And that's a nice clean loop. So we can go ahead and we can press process, and we can discard. This is gonna basically get rid of everything we don't want. Everything that's outside of our start and end markers is gonna delete, and it's gonna leave only what we want to chop up. So